Oh, all right. Alexa once again confirms that we're live, people.
Let's go. Let's
All right.
go.
We got Thomas on the episode today.
Let's go. Not
Yes. All right. Um, quick applause there, people. We need it. We need it. Um, but yeah, I don't know, Monty. Want to tell the viewers about what we're talking about today, or?
okay. So I just actually came up with this on a whim because I was like, okay, what could Thomas talk about for 1 hour? And I was like, he has a very interesting relationship with his dad, and I was like, you know what? I feel like there's because I had a conversation with him in the car before. It was I don't know what time actually, but and it was basically his dad telling him, hey, I want you to get a job, and he was kind of bringing me into the conversation to egg Thomas on, and I was like, all right, I'll only do it basically if you tell me the real reason why, and I'll support it. And he gave the little philosophy speech, and I was like, you know what, I respect that. Getting a job has this and this, and I have a job myself. I could relate to it. I'll be like, yeah, there's not much else to it if you just tell the truth about it, and I'll just agree. And that's how that conversation went down. And I was like, you know what, I respect the fact that his dad was able to tell the truth because I feel like a lot of other people our age could also relate. Like we have to fight tooth and nail just to get the real reason out of something that our parents are pushing us to do. So, I feel like we got to, discuss these certain things. Like, if you just tell us the truth, for example, we might respect that. Even if we don't get it at the time, we might just respect that. Okay, this is like, I understand this is what you want me to do for this reason. I may or may not go do it for that reason, and it would just be a better relationship from parent to child in general. So that's really what the topic is.
All right. I mean, I don't know. Do you want me to give you my opinion of why they're afraid to like give the real reason, or like the,
Oh
just
yeah,
give
yeah,
you?
yeah. We can start with that. Like, why not?
I
Tell.
mean, I think it's just simply because a lot of parents would, especially if you're talking about stuff like the talk, you know, the talk of like walking a kid through puberty. It's not always easy to say to your kid because let's be honest, teenagers, they're kind of like they have a short fuse. It's really hard. Just children in general, it's hard, to get
Mm-hmm.
it through them. I mean, I feel like the difficulty level is a bit astrabated, in media and all that stuff. But I think a lot of times, like, look, man, sometimes like this is a bit of an extreme example. It's like if your kid's an a hole, it's a bit hard to tell them that they're an a hole. You can't just bluntly say that, right? But
I,
like,
I slightly disagree. I mean, there's if he's just a straight up a hole, like sooner
right,
or later you gotta just like straight up tell the man, like,
Yeah, it has
yo,
that depends on what the situation is with that
yeah,
specific.
yeah, like if it gets to an extreme point, if they're just like socially an asshole, why did I
right,
say that? We could edit that out. If they're just socially a bad person,
Economically an
right,
asshole.
you know, if they're just like socially a bad person, then yeah. But if they're over there like robbing banks,
hmm
you got to start you like or just
you might
like
have
they're
to shoot that kid.
yeah, you might you might have to put a tranquilizer on them or
Oh, by the
something.
way, Twitter, please don't cancel me for that statement. It was a joke. Calm down.
I mean,
Don't worry. I hear the bird flapping its wings coming towards me with the sharp beak trying to kill me, but I think we're good. I'm in the
I
house
think
right
we're
now,
good,
so it
but
won't get me.
yeah, it's like you gotta like. There's a certain line like okay, I gotta still straightforward. Like
Right.
that's what you have to do. But I feel like at the start, you really should just be truthful in general. Because like if you not being truthful led up to that person being a douche.
Right.
Now they're like and they don't realize it. Sometimes a lot of people that are a bad person don't realize they're a bad person. You
Yeah,
know,
that's very
so
true.
I would just tell the truth from the beginning to end and
Yeah.
in between.
Right. I mean, it's also a lot of parents they like to do this thing of like not directly giving it to you, like you said, just because they like to instill this find your own path mindset. You know what I mean? Like there's this weird thing that I've noticed how some people they like to give a maze to someone, and on the other end of the maze there's a solution, but it's up to you to get through the maze.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
I
I
get
don't know
that.
how to put it into other words, but that's essentially what some parents do. For me personally, I get it, but it's much quicker just telling them up front. you know, like
Yeah,
it's
that's only in the movies. Like, giving them a whole maze, and then the end of the movie is the life lesson. Like, you know, like of course there's certain things that is opinion based, but if you're teaching like a universal theme, shout out to English, but you know that has to be straightforward. You got to teach discipline, all that stuff, and accountability. You have to teach that because that's just a part of life. But you
yeah,
can't give a maze, because what if they don't want to walk through the maze?
exactly. Yeah, just got to slap them in the face sometimes. No,
Exactly. Am I right, Thomas?
no,
Yeah, I can agree with that. Definitely have a few examples of not getting straight to the point with my family. So, me and my dad have this weird trait of just not getting to the point at all. So not this isn't really a parental example, but this isn't like a neutral example of how this works. So I wanted to play a game with one of my old friends I haven't spoken to in forever, and I was like, "Hey, like I see you play this game," and he's like, "Yeah, I do." And I was like, "Whoa, tell me what you do, and like who do you play with, and how many people do you play with?" And the goal I was trying to get towards is just asking him, "Hey, can I play with you?" But for some reason, I just couldn't say it. It was like
mm,
it's like ingrained in me where I can't just get straight to the point. And my dad's the same exact way. He likes to give advice, like for example, like the job situation. He wanted me to get a job, and then when I asked him why, he'd be like, "You just need to get one." I'm like, "No, clearly there's something else, and you're not telling me that's something else. So can you please just tell me?"
right,
And then sometimes he does, like with the situation with McDonald's, he's just like, "Because you need to know what it's like to work there and like know the struggles." And I was like, "Yeah, I can understand that. Hence why I'm getting the job."
right.
And like it's been a constant issue forever. Like almost there's like so many topics I can randomly just think of. And it happens. Like maybe I'm doing something with my friends and he texts me. He's like, "Hey," like, and he like, so maybe he wants me to come home. He always asks me like, "Isn't it just too late for you to be out?" And I'm like, "I don't think so. I mean, like everyone else is here. We're all enjoying ourselves."
Right.
And then he's like, "Aren't you overstaying your welcome? Like, it's getting kind of late, and like maybe you're loud." I'm like, "Do you want me to come home? Is that what you're telling me?" And then he'd
Right.
say yes. I'm like, "Ah, yes, there it is. Thank you for sharing." And then I will tell the people I'm with it's getting a little late. I'll go home, and then I just will. But like, I don't understand why. Like it's not like I can understand like the whole the advice thing being like you need to figure this out for yourself. But like maybe sometimes if you like just tell us what you meant by it, we can understand it better and therefore do what you want us to do like better for the most
Yeah.
part.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Thomas. With those sort of things, I don't have a direct answer for them to why they happen. Um, I mean, some people are just very inquisitive. They just like to ask questions, and they like to like poke an opinion towards you. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And some like what I've noticed is like sometimes when I do that, right, I'm a bit like afraid to push that idea to somebody because it's a little too blunt, and that person doesn't have a good history of taking things that are blunt, well, right?
Hmm.
But Amani's laughing because that's like it's weird because I'm very blunt, but anyway, um, yeah, shit, I forgot what I was saying. Um, but yeah, sometimes people don't really want to be blunt, you know.
Yeah.
Um, Imani, you take over because
Yeah, you're over there struggling. uh, I
I'm
feel like
terrible at advice. I'm sorry.
I feel like it's just more of a communication thing. It's like you're beating around the bush because you don't want
Yes,
to like
exactly it.
you don't want to like force the person like, oh, you got to come home. Now you see him a little too pushy and stuff. So now you end up half stepping into it. You know, like you want to be like, hey, you know, you want the other person to suggest what you're saying. So you give them clues and hints about what you're saying, and it's like, you know, it's like a balance that it's hard to keep. So you just start halving it. But sometimes you got to be like, hey, you know, can you come home? You know, it's a little too late. You don't have to be straight like, come home. Like it's like that. You know, there's different ways to come across, and I feel like you just the half stepping is just being a little too soft. I guess that's lack of a better term. Not to call your dad anything soft. It's just that's it's a little
I know, I get it.
yeah. It's just redundant. That's the word, redundant.
Like I feel like that attitude is like almost everywhere. Like not even with like the parent relation, like parent son or mother daughter or whatever, like question thing. It's like everywhere. Nobody likes to get anywhere near the point. Like everyone will always try their best to like swerve around it so they never like ever really have to say it, even if it's not that bad. Like, oh, like it's okay. Like I know it's late. Can you come home? Like that's not too bad. That's just you being a caring person, being like, hey, like I know it's late. It's not super safe. Can you come home? See, that's fine. But like if you're just gonna like continuously dance around the point and eventually just make the other person angry, then that's not helping anything. You're just making the situation a lot worse than it could have, like than it had to be. Could have just ended at like, sure, okay, I'll do it. Compared to like, oh, see, now I don't want to do it because you won't explain it to me or you won't give me a good reason why. Blah 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 blah. Teenage angst or whatever. Like if you could just always like, if people like just got to like the point of everything, like I feel like life would be so much better, and like it just wouldn't have to be that stressful like all the time.
Mm. Yeah, and I feel like the only reason that happens is it's kind of like the opposite of what they're trying to do. They're trying to avoid conflict, but the more they dance around it, they just get you mad. It's like, just say the thing, man, Jesus Christ, and now you're mad, and they were trying to avoid that, and now they keep doing that method of just trying to be like less and less like aggressive towards you, and they just like they completely almost shut off because you're getting more mad, and they were trying to do the opposite of that, and they think the method is still working or supposed to, but it just ends up doing the opposite of what they want.
I also, with my mom, it's something similar, but a little more direct, where my dad would never really give me a good reason why, or very descriptive or clear. My mom would just did not give me a reason at all. Like I would ask her, like she would probably tell me like to do this, and I'd be like, why do you want me to do it? And she'd just say, because. I'm like, that's not a good reason why. Can I have an actual reason? And she says no. Like even if like even it's about over the smallest things. Like I used to like when I remember when I was younger, I used to ask her, what are we doing this weekend? Because like do I have to be ready? And she's like, I don't know. Or like, yeah. And I ask, what are we doing? And she's like, you'll see. I'm like, that's not helping me. Like, do I need to like get something ready? Do I
Yeah,
need to do something previously? He's like, no, just do it. Go with the flow. I'm like, no, see, that's not helping. Now I'm upset because you're not telling me things, and you're getting upset because I'm getting upset, and then it's just a really bad situation. Then it gets worse.
You know?
yeah, that right there is a classic right there. That's the classic. I'm the parent, which means shut up. I know better. Be quiet. Just follow what I'm doing, type of thing. Because of my title. You know.
Mm-hmm. It's 100% true. Even as something as simple as plates, washing the plates. My mom is like, "Oh, can you wash the plates?" It's like, I mean, it's kind of also me being lazy. I'll admit that, but it's like, do I have to do it now? Because I may, play the game. I don't feel like pausing it until the game is over. Like, do you want me to get up and do it now? Is there a reason behind it? to see how urgent these plates need to be washed. If she says because I want to cook right now, I'll go up and do it. I want food. I'm hungry. My metabolism is high. I'll go do
Metabolism.
it. Yeah, but if it's like, oh, I just wanted to be washed, I'll just do it a little later. It's the priority of it. If you give me a reason that prioritizes this task, I'll go do it. It's important to you, but you have to also show how important it is for you so I can go do it because I could care less about those plates. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like that, and like another thing that happens with me is indirect like commands to do something. Like in some cases, if my dad or my stepmom told me, "Can you please empty the dishwasher?" If I'm not doing anything better right now, I'd be like, "Okay," and I'll just do it. But if they bring up the topic, it's like, "Wow, that dishwasher's pretty full," or like, "Oh man, like oh, we have like no forks, or like no knives or anything. Like, how are we supposed to eat?" Like only if like somebody got them out of the dishwasher, and it'd be like, "Ah, what are you talking about? Like, are you telling me to go empty the dishwasher?" And they'd be like, "No, no." I'm like, "Yes, you are. You are definitely doing that." It's like the situation like this just happened like earlier this week. Like, I think I was like trying to I was pointing out outfits for like our graduation, and she was like, and I was like, "Man, like I don't want to do this. This is dumb. Like I have clothes. It's fine." And I was like, I put on the pair of shoes, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, they're shoes. They fit. Can we be done?" And then she's like, if you just did it and didn't do anything complain about it, we could be done already. And like that's all up to you. I'd be like, and in that case, I'd rather have like my actual mom yell at me like, "Shut up, try on this." And I'd be like, "Okay, I'll do it." And I tried it on, and then it ended. And I was like, "Man, you made that harder than it needed to be. Like you could have just been like, try on these shoes, try on these clothes. Let me know which one you like. Here's like 3 hours to do it." No, it was like, I need to watch you like staring eye contact, and I have to make it seem like it's your idea to do it when it clearly wasn't because you told me to do it without telling me to do it.
Yeah, it's like giving you options about something you don't really care about. You don't really care about clothes. It's you know, just give me options. I'll pick which one for your sake, and then I'll go wear it. Like we don't have to make it like a journey for me, like a, a, a journey basically. We don't have to make it like a adventure to the clothing store just for me that I don't even want to do in the first place. I get that 100%.
No, something else. Like I just thought of something else that like happened like that. Oh yeah, it's like similar to the clothes thing, like where they basically tell you they want you to wear a certain something, but they do give you the choices to pick out from. Like I picked out well, it was like a brown pair of shoes and like a different like darker brown like shade of my pants, and I was like, "I like this. This looks good." And she was like, "I don't know. Like I think like this would look better, don't you think?" And then she'd like have like forcefully show it to me, like, "Do you want me to wear that? Is that the color you want?" And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. It's your choice. It's your choice." I'm like, I don't think it is anymore. I think you want me to wear an outfit that you're thinking of, and not the outfit I'm thinking of. Just it's just not it's not that. It's just let me like if you're gonna give me options and you're gonna tell me to pick from said options, let me pick from the options, not just you know what you want me to wear already, and you want me to reach that conclusion by being like, "Man, this select pair of gray pants or select pair of like white shirt is like the best combination." No, it's not. I want to wear whatever I want, but you want me to wear this. So that's not really giving me a choice now, is it? No, that's you telling me, "Here, do this. It's your idea now."
Yeah, that's actually annoying because it's like you have an illusion of choice. It's like you pick something and then, like you think, okay, I have choice here, and then you just end up and they're like pushing you, like, hey, I think this is better, either than you don't really care in the first place, but you just go with it because you don't want to argue with them about your opinion. So yeah, that's actually kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I like it's that's like it all connects back to like the same to like the root of just not telling people what you really think. Just like don't make people think that it's their idea. That's stupid and it doesn't work all the time. Like I remember when I was younger, I used to like try to swindle my parents to get me something. I was like, "Hey, can I get this game?" And my dad would say no. And then I go up to my stepmom and ask, "Can you get me this game?" And then she'd say, "What did your father say?" And I was like, "Who cares what he said? Just be you. You're a different person than him. Be yourself. Be your own person." And then it just sometimes it just doesn't work. And then yeah, it just makes me sad. And then you just made a kid sad. But then at that rate, like you would probably explain to that kid like, you know what? You have to understand the importance of money. Without like money, you can't do all the things like feed yourself, like pay bills. Instead of you just telling me like my mom used to do when I was at like the store when I want a chocolate bar, put that down. It's a waste of money. It's just the fact of just not telling you the real reason behind it. Just
Hmm.
not getting to the point. Like it all eventually somewhere clicks back to the issue of just not telling people things.
Yeah, well, the first one, I think, like, the say, oh, what did your dad say? I think they only do that to be on the same team and not to cause arguments and stuff, because they have to keep you under the same rules and not be different. So
I get
that's,
I get that, but like over big things, like not like you're really not like I guess in the long run, like it kind of taught me how I didn't really need things like that, like small stuff like that. But like, why? Like you could have just told, like you could have just said, like, no, it's a waste of money. We both know that. No, not instead of just being like, you know what? Maybe ask this other person what they think about it. Like, no, you clearly both have the same opinion, and I'm going to waste my time walking up to both of you, being like, can I get this for you just as both to say no?
that's
Tell me
true.
no from the first place. Don't let me get my hopes up and be like, oh, if I ask this other person, maybe they'll say yes. For them to say no, and then just that nothing happened, just for there to be just an upset kid, not knowing the true reason why you won't get me this thing besides no.
Yeah, and that's true. Especially with, like, the candy bar and stuff. It's like, they never, like, I've had situations where, like, my mom would, like, quote unquote borrow $10 from me, and that was back when, like, situations were a little dire, and I would ask for the $10 back because you said you would borrow it, and then it was like asking for the $10 back would be an offensive term, like,
You crossed
you
the
know
line. You said
yeah,
something personal.
you said something personal, and it's like, I figured out later the only reason she got mad at me for asking for those $10 because she didn't have it, and it was like her not having it. She projected that anger onto me. It's like, you just don't have to do that. You could just be honest with yourself and say, I don't have the
No,
ten
you're like, I
dollars.
can't give you this $10 now. Can you like? I'll let you know when I get it, and I'll give it back to you.
Exactly, and I would just understand. Like, I don't know if, like, parents are trying to protect us from this poor mentality, but it's like, again, half stepping it, it's like you're just gonna make yourself look bad because you're not being honest. Plus, you're trying to create an illusion that we're not poor or something like that. If we can't get certain things, I think a child will understand that if you just tell them, of course, not bluntly, but, like, put it in a nicely packaged way. Hey, we can't get certain stuff because our money is really tight. Not go out and be mad because you're poor. Like, that is, because I've actually, there's a lot of examples where a child will ask for something, and then the parent will be like, oh, maybe you should go out and get a job and pay bills and
Yes,
yada.
yes. How I don't know how many times this has happened to me. So like I have a good, not like thousands of dollars, at least I don't think, in my savings account. And sometimes like in a game, like if something cool will come out, and I was like, oh, and I was like, I really want that. And like I know it's not a waste of money, and I know that I really want it because I'm not having second guesses in the idea of getting it.
Mhm.
And then I'll ask my dad, like, hey, can you like transfer me like $40 to get it? And he'd be like, no, you're wasting money. But like, but it's my money. Like, I got it. It's in my account. Why can you just give it to me? And then he won't. And this happened like a few weeks ago with something. Like, I wanted to get whatever that new knife is in Valorant. I was like, dang, it's a sick knife. It's like a protractor. I want it. And I asked him for it, and he said no. But he didn't really say no. He gave an indirect no, because after a bit of him making up reasons why, I checked my account, and it wasn't there. And the money wasn't there. I was like, well, thank you for telling me no without saying it. You could have just said no from the beginning, and I would have just been like, okay. I even told myself that, like, if he, because like I was having a little second guess at that point about getting it, because like if he just told me no, I would have been like, all right, I just won't then. That's fine. But then it's the fact that he just didn't say no. Just no, the two letters that can easily just change my mind. He perfectly avoided it. And then
Yeah.
I was just like, no, I'm mad because you didn't give me a good reason why, and I didn't get my money. So like now, what am I supposed to do? I said skulk like a little like sad teenager, like, oh my god, this happened to me. Like you could have avoided the whole situation, because if he just said no, I would have been like, okay, and nothing would have happened. No emotion change, no being upset. I would have just carried on my day. But just the fact that those two letters were not said is the whole reason why I got upset.
Yeah. Wait, Matt, are you still there? I just want to
Yeah,
ask because
I'm
you,
here.
Jesus, you haven't inputted anything, man. You know, go get to talking. Like,
All right, I'm just trying to listen and come up with a response, man.
so you're just not okay. But unless you don't want to talk, I was just trying to bring you into the convo. I thought you were like daydreaming, getting
Tell Steve.
angry.
No, why would I? I'm listening to an interesting conversation.
Yeah, but
But
all right, just checking.
I don't know, man. I mean, for me, I kind of avoid getting angry like that just because it's like, with parents, it's like you kind of need to learn how to play the game.
Hmm.
Like for instance, if I don't actually suffer from this too much. Um, Only when like if we're buying clothes, something like that would happen. But I don't really get angry at it just because it's like, it's weird because with some things, parents kind of like remain the same from when you were a kid, like picking out clothes for you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know. There's some weird emotional attachment to that. Maybe I don't know. I would think, or it's also what it is too, or it could be. It's also a thing of like control. I think for
Mm-hmm.
some reason a lot of people are like obsessed with control. You know,
Yeah.
and that's a common thing that I've seen when people get kids. It's like that control. It's weirdly addicting to them. I don't know. At least from what I've seen. But yeah, with the playing the game thing, right? If you want more direct answers, you just need to understand that they're trying to tell you to go right instead of left. And then if you keep going right, eventually they'll be straightforward with you. There is a problem with that though, which is that it's kind of the same thing with doing stuff that people want you to do. It's like eventually people are just gonna like expect it from you, you know, and they'll always rely on you for that. I'm kind of like going off the deep end here, but yeah, I don't know. Essentially, it's that. Once again, I'm terrible giving advice, so I
Well,
don't know.
yeah. I definitely agree with all of that. And again, I feel like all of that just could be avoided if they were just honest. Because once again, I feel like another aspect to it is, it kind of dictates how we interact with our parents. Because if they're like just like, half stepping, it's like you're gonna expect that from them. So you won't really go to them for certain things.
Right.
But if you have an idea that your father or your mother is honest with you, you will go to them for advice and have conversations outside of the parent to child relationship, just a person to person talk, just talking about life in general. You will go to them for that. But if you know they're not that type of person where you could go to them because they haven't been that honest in the past. You won't expect that from them. And I know that parents, they want us to go to them for just life and stuff and have genuine conversations, but it really comes down to this certain thing, these little interactions where we have with each other, with the yes and the no or the maybe so. Those really matter because it dictates how we view you. So that's really like the biggest thing about it.
Yeah.
I feel like when parents do that, like don't get straight to the point, it's good up to a certain age. Like with me, since my parents are divorced and all, like there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know about because they wanted to protect me from it, and I'll give them credit for that because you're not gonna tell like a 7-year-old that their parents aren't the biggest fans of each other at the moment and like to yell, like say mean things about it, like about each other, for like behind each other's backs, because that would make a 7-year-old very upset. And not to make myself sound depressed or like anything, I diagnosed myself with divorced kid syndrome, where like if any like even at the slight, like I remember like even like before I went to go visit all my colleges I'm going to, like there was this whole thing about my mom watching to come with us, but it was gonna be my dad and my stepmom, and my mom is not the hugest fan of my stepmom, and like I can understand that why, but like it's just the fact of like just avoiding the conflict is what my goal was, and like when I heard about it, like I like it was like an instantaneous like sad eruption, like I just didn't want to see that, and that's why I can understand, like that is like a really rare example, but like normally, like that's probably how I would have reacted when I was 7, and that's why my parents didn't tell me. But since I was like that, even at the age I currently am at now, it still bothered me that much. But like that's why I feel like in some cases, like it's like this, like the thing when I was 7, you don't tell a kid what you mean if it's serious. But like over this silly thing, like can I get this bag of M&Ms from like the stand right before like the supermarket checkout, and you say no, and you don't give a good reason why, that's stupid. You can easily just say no. Like we have candy at home. It's a waste of money. It's unhealthy. That's fine. But like in some cases like that, you're not going to tell a kid that your parents are not the biggest. Like, they don't like each other because that'll just make the kid sad, which could eventually lead to worse things down the road, like depression,
Drugs.
drugs, alcohol consumption, like anything, any misdirection in that serious case could have ruined it. But my parents managed to keep on a straight face until I hit whatever, like 15, 16 maybe, and then it really started to show. But like by that age, like whenever that stuff would happen, I was just like, yeah, I get that now. It's whatever. I'm used to it. But so I'd say, depending on what the topic is or how serious it really is, then it's okay to like not give an exact answer. But that's just a really rare example.
Yeah, and I actually could really agree with that. And an example here of my father, actually, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out here. Yeah.
Thumb
Ooh.
up.
Yeah, but besides that, he doesn't have the best pass, I'll say that much. And actually remember him saying like, you know, like I've done a lot of bad things, but I don't feel like telling you right now, and because you're 15, I feel uncomfortable about it. And I was like, I feel like at 15 I was way past like the intelligence to understand without feeling a certain way, without getting an emotion and start going down a bad path, because I felt like I've been through enough of that already and it already shaped me, so I understood. And I said, yeah, you could tell me though. Like at 15, I told him, yo, you could still tell me. And then he like straight up said, no, I don't feel comfortable telling you. I'm just not ready to confess that to you at this age. And I respect him saying that because he didn't give me some, BS reason like, not all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. He just straight up said, I don't feel comfortable. And that's an understandable response. If you don't feel comfortable about it because of my age, you just don't want to tell a 15-year-old what you did in your past, that's understandable. We'll have that conversation when I get older and understand life more. I understand that, and I respect him for saying that. And I didn't have to. I'm not even gonna. I didn't have to go there and sit there and wonder, oh, what did he do and yada yada. Why won't he tell me and stuff? It doesn't, linger in my mind. He just didn't feel like telling me. I'll leave it until later in life. You see, it's just that simple. Like
it's just the point of getting to the point or saying what you really mean straight out. It's just, you don't feel comfortable telling me, that is perfectly okay. I'm not going to interrogate on you because you're clearly, that would either A, make you upset, B, make the situation worse so you never feel comfortable telling me, or all of them. It'd make their present situation worse, and it could potentially make all future situations worse. It's just the fact that they straight up said it. It's just that was like the level of like being comfortable or like being mature, I guess. It just to straight up tell you, like, I'm not gonna tell you right now because I don't want to. That's okay. It's on you. Your choice distributing it.
yeah.
For me, I'm like, so basically, essentially, you two, I guess, you guys kind of got half-assed answers, right? Essentially, like, I guess, and not to the point, right? Just like,
Beating around the bush.
yeah. No, I was the complete opposite of that. The way I was raised, like, I got the truth, just straight up told, like, very bluntly, I'll put it that way. Put in my face from a young age, and I mean, that's all I'm going to say on that because I don't want to go too far. Imani knows, but
yeah. And that's why Matt is very straightforward as a person. I feel that's literally why. And some people could say it's good, some people could say it's bad, but just put it into another term, it's like at the end of it all, we can't, like, we kind of want more of the the not half-assing it, but it's like you can't completely do that. You can't tell a 1-year-old about everything about life. They won't even understand, and even then, if they just understood it somehow, it would shape them for the rest of their life. You kind of have to.
Let me tell you how it is from a kid who, learned about the ugly side of life at a very young age. This is going to be straightforward here. I'm not a very emotional person. I'm not a very empathetical person. I'm not. The things I hear on the news are just other things to me. Yeah, what are you going to do? I'm not going to go into example because I'm not trying to get canceled here, but I had to grow up very early in life. I had to grow up at like 4 years old. Nothing ever got beat around the bush for me. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very thankful for it. As weird as that sounds.
You would definitely come out of the positive side of that compared to the extreme negative of potential.
Yeah, that's a thing like that. You could have ended up.
You could have ended up a lot worse.
Oh no! Let me get into that now. I went through the bad and then came out the good. Again, I don't really want to go into it because I didn't really go through the good side, to be honest with you. Monty knows. And I'm trying to explain it in a way where I could say it on the podcast, but, saying it bluntly causes depression as well. That's all I'm going to say. It causes problems as well, because you have to understand you're kind of traumatizing a little kid,
Yeah. It's definitely up to, I feel like in that case, it's definitely up to the parents to raise their kids up to that level of maturity where they can tell them these kind of things. Because if you tell
what if it wasn't really a lesson thing? It was more of a cruelty thing.
Well, then
that's something completely different.
That's not the same thing. Because
that's actually the extreme side of it.
That's that's the course of just like I'm not gonna tell this kid something mega bad about like me, because like if I tell him like say if like I example like did crime when I was like my age or like in my early 20s, like I'm not gonna like if I just tell a kid like hey like your father's like a felon and like you are gonna have to grow up with that fact and you're gonna be a sad child. And you tell it like a 5-year-old that this is gonna get sad and they're just gonna tumble in the worst direction and eventually just become you. And that's
Hmm.
not good. You just gotta if you, yeah, it's definitely up to like the parent to raise up a kid to a certain point of
Hmm.
like maturity where they can tell them something like that. And that kid it can just be like, you know what? All right.
Yeah.
I now
I
understand
mean,
what you mean.
yeah. I mean, I'm not referring to that. Shit, I can't really say it on the podcast, but like,
Well, yeah, it's like I feel like you're going more into like the parenting style of it because being straightforward
yeah,
just
maybe
in
a little.
general, like about every single thing, and it's like
Because
aggressive
I don't,
towards the point.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to go into what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know how to say it, but like, I don't know, exposing a child to the ugly side of life. I'm essentially saying, like not beating around the bush, but like, kind of I don't know how to say it. It's like, just straight up telling your kid like, you know, you are shit.
Damn.
you know, that sort of thing. Like, you can't fucking do this math. Like, goddamn, you are fucking stupid. Like that sort of shit.
Bro, you can't calculate if I have 5 apples and I gave you two. You don't know how many apples I have left. Like I can count it on my fingers right now. You don't know how. You're stupid like that.
Yeah, that's not even. I don't even think that's fully like getting straight to the point. That's really just that's cruelty. That's just going way off the bounds because the kid is not. Okay, I mean, technically the kid is stupid because he doesn't know, but you don't tell him he's stupid. It's like it's a learning thing. You don't tell somebody they're stupid and expect them to learn. That's not even being straightforward.
That
Kind of.
happened. That happened to me. I can say that.
That's not good.
It wasn't, but
That's the point of this podcast right now. We're telling people this isn't healthy. You know,
it
like
wasn't. But then I got over it, and then I was just like, you know what? I don't blame you. That's how potentially how you were raised, or that's how you think because you don't know better,
Same
and that's
thing with
fine.
me, Thomas. I
Yeah,
came to
man.
that conclusion as well.
yeah, and that's what I mean. It's kind of terrible. Like that's why I feel like we got to say this out loud because we're just telling parents like, hey, you got to chill out on, or you got to chill out or turn it up a notch, depending on the situation. But don't always stick to one option. Don't be one dimensional parenting because you don't have to be super aggressive to a 4-year-old. But when he's 24 robbing banks, you might have to slap him. You know,
Right.
you can't be super soft all the time and you can't be super hard all the time. You have to understand the context of the situation and go ahead and do it. And to be honest, and this is really sad to say, but that's just how it is. It's a tough thing to do what we're saying right now. Even though then we're asking of it, it's tough. Some like I can understand making a mistake. You approach the situation wrong, but it's really hard for like a lot of people to judge the situation and pick how to handle it. Sometimes they don't even know the options are there. They might only pick one. But we're just saying like, yo, like as in general in parenting, we don't have to beat around the bush and we don't have to tell a 4-year-old how stupid they are. Like we don't have to do either. Maybe we could say, hey, like you're you got to figure out this problem, man. How you gonna get through life if you can't figure out this? That's a nice way of calling them. Hey, if you just keep being stupid, you won't get through life. That's just a nice way of saying it.
That also happened exactly to me by I think it was my first elementary school principal. I used to be not the greatest kid when I was younger, and I can say that now because I 100% changed from that. Where like I think it'd be funny because like if your kid went missing, you'd probably be afraid. And I thought, hey, if I hid in the closet for the entire school day, I think that'd be pretty funny. And then I did it, and then I got in trouble. On top of that, and all the other different things, I went to my principal, and he kind of just looked at me. He's like, "You see this?" And he pointed to, I think it was a thing on the wall. It was like a plaque of like a Student of the Month award, and he's like, "This is what all the good kids get." You do not get this. Do you know why? Do you know why is that? Because I hid in the closet. Because you hid in the closet. See, that's not good. You shouldn't do that. You should be like this. This is what you should be, pointing to the Student of the Month plaque. And I was like, and then I was so confused. And he told me, like, if you keep doing this, like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, it's not, but it's not gonna be good. And then that level of being straightforward for like for what, like a 5 year old, like 5 through 8. I don't remember how like what age I was, but I knew it was in elementary school when I was young. It's just that level of just being straightforward is important, because after that, I learned that like not doing my work and misbehaving all the time was bad, and then my whole personality like just exploded, and I became like a completely different person. Like I started doing better in school. I felt bad when I misbehaved. Like I remember even like in a case in like middle school where like I was doing something not the greatest, and then like I got caught by like a dean, and like I just like collapsed. I got so sad because I can't believe that I like stooped to that level and did it. And then Dean was like, "Oh man, like you really do feel bad about this." And I did. It wasn't like me covering it up. They'd be like, "Oh man, if I cry hard enough, I won't get in trouble." Like no, I like was sad, and the person could tell. So they're just like, "You know what? Just don't do it again." And then I never did. And I understand. It's just the lessons of like being straightforward could potentially change everything. Even like a kid, like how a kid works. Like instead of just like misbehaving all the time, not like just being a general nuisance, to like the kid be like becoming one of the nicest people you know. And eventually I did get the Student of the Month award, and I felt accomplished. And the principal was like, "Good job. You did it."
Exactly, because that's why I said it's a hard balance, because you're molding the kid a certain way. You know, no offense to Matt, but like I feel like how he was molded, it was with fist, not literally, hopefully, but um, not literally, just like how hard and
Again,
aggressive.
not going into my life.
Yeah, how hard and aggressive that teaching was. It made Matt hard and aggressive. Just dude's a gorilla, so it's just yeah, I like it's just.
Yeah,
And the
but there's
other,
also a side of it where you can become soulless like me. So
yeah, that's what I mean. But you
another.
know, like, and the other side of it is just barely even molding in the first place, and it just molds itself
Yeah,
without any like direction. That could end up in anywhere, and usually that person is usually just maybe stays in the mold, just soft and squishy, and as soon as something slightly hard pushes them, it's like, oh my god, I'm not used to this, and they
right.
try to maintain that shape, of
But
just not being molded.
Amani, sometimes with that sort of aggressive stuff, if it's constant, and then you come back and you confront the person, and they're just like, "Well, I didn't do anything wrong." It's like that's also another thing of like it's quite paradoxical because you're raising a child to see their bullshit, but then when that's turned on you, it's you can't see it. It's just common nature for you. Like I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like Thomas said, it's a balance. I don't know.
Yeah, that's just a
Like
weird thing, and I feel like that level of parenting is just there's no self awareness. That's really it. Just no self awareness. Like at the end of the day, like the parent also has to like learn through these life lessons themselves, so their children can learn the same way or even better than they did, you know, and be aware of themselves. Like all the life lessons that you're giving your child, you should have learned the best way yourselves. If not, you should know how to teach it the best way, And again, that's another problem with parenting. Not a lot of parents know how to do that, and that's why I have to deal with your offspring. Now,
Man, now I feel different about all kids, as I now will prefer to refer to them as offspring.
no, I'm just like I'm directing that as parents. Like I have to deal with bad parenting and the product of it. Now I have to deal with it. But that's another topic. But we complain about people 24/7 on this podcast anyway. But it does just go back to parenting and also how that parent is and how they were parented. It's a cycle. But Yeah, we're just upfront in the best case scenario and soft in the best case scenario. I feel like that alone would change a lot about a person and their parent. That's really it.
Again, it's like what Thomas said. There's a balance. You know what I mean? And you just there's also another thing with the aggressive stuff. It's like a lot of times people, it's weird. I feel like especially with kids, it's like they kind of respond more to the aggressive stuff. They're more likely to like I don't know. It's weird. Like if you tell a kid go clean up your toys versus go clean up your toys. I guess that fear mongering is like it's
Oh yeah,
effective
it sticks.
Yeah,
and
because you're giving them a sense of urgency, like, oh my god, he's serious, and then you go
and
do
when
it.
you see that it's effective and you can't get the kid to do it any other way, yeah, you're gonna use that. You know what I mean? You're gonna you scream at them more. You know,
That's
but
true.
it's like for me, for my kids, my plan is to just like I don't know. I can't even give that because I'm not. I'm only 18, man. Like, so I don't know. I mean, my suggestion to that is like just try to explain it to them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's like at a certain point though, you just gotta like grab them by the collar sometimes and just be like, "Do you see this?" Like, if they have a drug problem and they're just constantly going to rehab, like you need to grab that kid, put your face, in their face, and be like, "You are going to kill yourself if you continue this." I'm not trying to be an a hole, but it's the truth,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna show them what's gonna happen. And I'm going to tell them I can't lose a kid. I'm sorry. That's not happening, you know?
Yeah, that's mostly just like having to realize how to raise your kids. Like I feel like when I eventually do become a parent, I will like think hard about what both my parents did about the good and bads that affected me.
And God
Like,
bless you for that
and
one.
my mom so what my mom used to do when she wanted me to do something when I didn't want to do it was to bare her teeth like a dog.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh shit, that's hostility. Like I can sense anger in that face. Like let me just, do it now. And or compared to like the fact of just like not like, or like the indirect command of like sure like man I really wish you would do this, it'd be very helpful to me. No, you just have to find the perfect balance of just like hey please please do this, just like do can you like take 5 minutes and do the dishes or like empty the dishwasher, refill it, or go throughout the garbage. Like I know it's not going to take you that long because I used to do it. So I know you should just do it. And then I feel like if you're straightforward enough with your kid, if your kid's reasonable and not like a twat who doesn't know how to do anything, and then you just be like, that's fine, I'll do it. And then I feel like that is like peak, peak balance of just like no, your kid understanding what you mean and you being straightforward enough to your kid in that certain situation where it just happens. Like you don't need to dance around the situation. You don't need to get violent. You could just straight up just say it, and then your kid will just do it, and there won't be any after effects. There won't be the anger or the sadness or the potential future repercussions. It would end. It just be like, yep, you want me to do this task? I'll do it. And that's just like the perfect dream.
I think that's the perfect note to end the podcast on as well. You think so, Monty?
Yeah. Should just end it instead of asking that question, but
All right, yeah, that's
Should
what.
it should have fade. It should fade to black as I finish my sentence.
Yep.
as you would be fired.
Consider that. I don't know. I'm a little too lazy for that one, but anyway, parents, get your shit together.
That's
That's a
that.
message from
Raise
Matt
your
right
kids
there.
right. Raise them
Yeah.
how you want them to, how you came up, but better. Realize where you came from, and realize if your life was hard, make your kids' life not as hard, maybe, but hard
Yeah.
enough where they realize what they need to do to live right.
Exactly. Don't be too soft. Don't be too hard. Be like medium
Good.
rare.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Um, yeah, I don't know. All right, gonna end it off. All right, people. This was the Raw Goats podcast. We had Thomas on. One more clap.
Clap myself up after that performance. I don't know
Yes,
how
sir.
I managed to talk for an hour straight, but I somehow did
was
it.
it was literally the topic. I really feel like the topic was just perfect.
You definitely picked a topic that I could talk about. Granted, that's kind of sad that I have so much to talk about of that situation with my parents. But hey, it got an hour. It got an hour
that's
worth of me
life.
talking
I
out of it.
mean, that's just everyone has parents, one or two of them, but
Sometimes more if they're.
sometimes more. Yeah.
Nowadays, that's becoming something. So
I'm
Well, that's a different topic.
I'm rocking two moms. I got it. I'm out.
Yeah.
Three parents.
Yep. Triple the love, everyone, or triple the fist to the face.
Double the Christmases.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep. But anyway, people, remember always be enlightened and please, 25 more pleases. Stay enlightened. And with that, yeah, people, that's it. See ya.